The Greater Wisconsin Committee, also known as the fundraising arm of Jim Doyle and the Democrat Party here in Wisconsin, was bequeathed with an infusion of cash from the Jim Doyle war chest. And it was over $1 million that Jim Doyle gave to the Greater Wisconsin Committee. The Greater Wisconsin Committee is a third-party group that Russ Feingold likes to complain about, except for the Greater Wisconsin Committee, which he likes a lot. The Greater Wisconsin Committee is one of those people, one of those groups you can't find out who's making the donations, but we do know Jim Doyle did make that gigantic infusion of cash. What they're doing is taking that money and blanketing assembly districts with just frankly BS literature, and just making stuff up in order to try to save a couple of seats. Assembly District 51 is one of those seats that they think they might be able to save with enough money and enough lies about the Republican in the race. Howard Marklein is the Republican in the race, and he is in the studio. Brian Schimming is also in the studio as well. Howard, welcome to the program. Now, for folks who don't know, District 51 is not Area 51, except for Spring Green.
Right.
Sometimes that can look a lot like Madison, huh?
Yes.
All right, so tell people just sort of the basic towns that are in that general district. So
the 51st Assembly District includes southern Sauk County, the communities of Sauk City, Pertisac, Spring Green, Plain, all of Iowa County, Dodgeville, Ridgeway, Barneveld, Mineral Point, and then the majority of Lafayette County, the community. Darlington.
All right, our basic, that end of our listening area, I mean, the WIBA gets all the way out to Lafayette County. So I hope you're all listening, and if not, please go tap your friends on the shoulder and tell them to turn on the radio right now. All right, Howard, you have been accused of being friends with conservatives in addition to being a conservative. Am I to assess these allegations correctly by the Greater Wisconsin Committee?
Yes, I've been labeled as a wealthy tax accountant. I have friends that are conservative. My wife disagrees or questions our wealth as she gets up every morning at 4:45 to go to work as a registered nurse. So
she doesn't feel like you guys are living in the lap of luxury, is she?
Not exactly, no.
Yes. Well, this is now the second piece I have seen from the Greater Wisconsin Committee. Again, bought and paid for by Jim Doyle, complaining about the budget deficit created under Jim Doyle and then blaming you for it.
That is correct. It's the irony.
Wait, let's just be clear here. Howard's not in the assembly. He's running for assembly. So how are you responsible for the budget deficit?
It'd be tough to make that connection, I think. But I think it's ironic how the Jim Doyle money is being used to attack me, who had nothing to do with that budget that created a $2.7 billion deficit that he's going to leave for the rest of us. Yeah.
They say that really the only way to solve that problem is tax hikes, right?
Yes.
We had a $2.1 billion tax hike. Didn't seem to really make a dent in that budget deficit. But then they go and talk about you wanting tax cuts. What's up with that? This is the beauty of these crazy lit pieces. They're so hypocritical and incongruous that you almost wonder why you would do it in an 8.5 by 11 two-page full-color foldout. And yet that's exactly what Jim Doyle did to try to blame you for the problems he created.
The only thing I can think is that two things. Number one, it confirms that I must be doing pretty well in the polls. And secondly, that they've got nothing to run on. And so if you've got nothing positive to say about your own campaign, I guess the only thing you can do is attack your opponent with a lot of baseless lies.
All right, so you're a tax accountant.
Yes, I am.
All right, so you know these things. The millionaire's tax. You familiar with the millionaire's tax, the 1% millionaire's tax, Howard? Howard Marklein again in the studio. $300,000 is the new million. Did you know that? $300,000, the new million. So you do people's taxes. Are those 300,000 people, $300,000 earners? Are those people just pocketing $300,000 and going and buying a Ferrari? Who are those? Who are the $300,000 earners in Wisconsin?
The majority of them are people that they're job creators. They're the people. That employ people. That
small businesses
are the anchors of a lot of our communities right now.
So how does it work? Because I don't think a lot of folks who don't own a business understand how the small business owner who files as an individual taxpayer, and I don't think they get that. So you can be a $300,000 earner in Wisconsin. That sounds like a lot of money to a lot of people. But if you're a small business owner and you're filing your business income on an individual tax return, you're not taking home $300,000. That's the income that you are generating, and all of that is being declared on an individual tax return. How does that work so folks kind of get a better idea, since most of us aren't small business owners?
Well, for most small business owners, they are either organized as a small business corporation, an S corporation, or else as an LLC. And that business needs to generate a return just to keep the doors open, to fund increases in working capital, accounts receivable, inventory, and replace equipment. And, so the profits that those businesses make are not sitting in cash, number one. And that money, that individual has to pay the tax on the profits, even though for many people they don't have anywhere near that amount of money available from a cash standpoint to spend.
Yeah, the salaries they pay themselves are pretty insubstantial, I must say. I know someone whose small business, now he's going to sound rich when I'm done telling you how much his small business generated. His small business generated $1.1 million in income. He paid himself $28,000. Right. He's driving a 15-year-old truck. But his business generated $1.1 million in income that he declared. Now, that sounds like a rich guy, doesn't it, Howard? Until you realize he took home about $28,000 to live on and is driving a 15-year-old truck. People don't realize that. Many
of those small business people, you have to understand, they go from getting paid first to getting paid last. And if there's any money left over, and there hasn't been in the last year or two with the economy, what it is, they're hurting. They're hurting.
Yeah, they
just
plow
as bad as,
it. Right, they plow it back into the business.
Right.
So my friend plowed everything after all the expenses were all done. Plowed everything back into the business, and until that business is stable and is sustainable, he's only taken home $28,000 a year, and that is a fairly common situation, and maybe 32. Maybe some people are paying themselves 40. Oh my gosh. But when I see Greater Wisconsin Committee again, which is, this is Jim Doyle, and over $1 million for these ads against you, Howard, claiming that tax breaks for the rich, those small business owners like I just described and you just described, had for the privilege of creating jobs in Wisconsin and breathing the air here, got to pay an extra 1% tax.
Right. And you wonder why we are number 43 in the United States in terms of our business climate, that Forbes released last week, and it's no wonder we're having a hard time creating jobs in this state, and it's no wonder employers are leaving the state.
Howard, isn't it, and I'm glad to say that when Howard wins this election, he'll be my state representative by extension, because my mother, as he knows, my mother's side of the family is from Ridgeway. Howard, and let's talk about that for a minute. Not my mother's side of the family, but let's talk about that for a minute, because the Democrats and all these left-wing front groups and the Greater Wisconsin Committee and all these people, they're trying to divert people's attention from what you're hearing on the street. You're not hearing this on the street. What are you hearing on the street?
What I'm hearing on the street is jobs, economy, government spending, and property tax, high property taxes. Probably in that order, and by far the biggest concern right now is jobs and the economy. Oh,
without question, at least by a 2-to-1 margin, it's jobs.
Absolutely,
jobs. Economy generally actually polls second. Jobs, the actual individual issue of jobs, which brings me to another criticism, and I frankly think disingenuous description of what the Democrats did. There's something called combined reporting. Not everybody knows what it is, but if you locate your corporate headquarters in Wisconsin and you generate sales here and you also sell outside the state of Wisconsin. So let's think Harley-Davidson. I think they're a great example. So they sell here, they sell across the country. Combined reporting required them to pay Wisconsin on sales outside of Wisconsin. Greater Wisconsin Committee, the Jim Doyle-fronted left-wing hit group, describes what I just said. People in Wisconsin selling their wares outside of Wisconsin and then generating profits, or rather tax revenue, back to Wisconsin based on sales outside of Wisconsin. That is the most anti-competitive, law we have ever passed in Wisconsin. I know that most people, and you for one, want to repeal it. They claim you're wanting to repeal that ridiculous, unfair law that is killing jobs. It cost Harley-Davidson $22 million extra dollars this year. Is you wanting to create tax loopholes for rich corporate cronies. Harley-Davidson just gave an indication it might want to move out. Sub-Zero is talking about moving out. Red Granite Corporation, another corporate headquarters here, is talking about moving out. We almost lost Mercury Marine. And it's because of these kinds of things, and specifically for Harley and some of the other more recent stories, specifically about that law that tried to capture extra tax revenue that Wisconsin, frankly, didn't deserve or earn.
Right, and that the combined reporting is just one more straw, that in the whole array of issues that are anti-business in the state right now, and it isn't just the combined reporting, but it's just one more thing. And when I'll tell you what, when business is tough as it is right now, those companies are looking for ways to save money, to remain competitive, to exist, to survive, and they're not afraid to make tough choices. And I want business here. I want corporate headquarters here. When you think about high-paying jobs, when you have a corporate headquarters here, you've got the banking relationships, the insurance relationships, the legal relationships, the advertising relationships,
the jobs,
and the jobs.
Those are all good. Those are all good, high-paying jobs.
You know what?
I don't want to be a branch.
Do you want to? You don't want to be a farm club for Louisiana because that's where the jobs are going. Tennessee, right. Louisiana, Kentucky, Indiana, Iowa. We have become a farm club for jobs in other states because we're killing our own industry here. Howard, where can people find out more about you?
They can go to my website, www.howardmarklein.com, and Marklein is spelled Marklein. Howard Marklein.
Howard Marklein, good guy. You just don't.
Thank you.
You just don't look like an evil person to me.
Right.
You don't look like the guy they put on the front of this ridiculous lit piece here. Howard Marklein, pleasure to have you in the studio. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Vicki.
Hey, do you have your costume for your pet yet? Well, you need to get it soon because this Sunday it's Halloween. Halloween at Mounds Pet Food Warehouse. So if you bring your pet in costume, Sunday, October 24th, any of the Mounds locations around, so the East Side location, Middleton, Fitchburg, Sun Prairie, or Janesville, you could win prizes. You could win the ultimate grand prize. But just for bringing your pet in a costume, you get a goodie bag. There's going to be cider and treats and all kinds of great stuff as well to make it a big party. So it's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Sunday at Mounds locations, Halloween, the pet costume contest. I'm bringing mine. I'll be at the East Side location. So if you fear my talent in pet costuming, you might want to try another location. Also, there's a great deal going on right now, and it's about to end, an $8 off coupon on a very popular brand of food that a lot of people are raving about called Holistic Select. Only for a limited time now, $8 off those 30-pound bags. You cannot beat that coupon anywhere. But then there's other great deals as well. If you go to MoundsPet.com, you can learn about them. Just click on in-store specials. But don't forget, this Sunday, Halloween at all Mounds Pet locations.